Well, it's been a while since we've been able to do any Hearthstone. We are out of Xillia episodes. There's a few reasons for that, but suffice to say, I have been out of town a whole bunch of weekends and some weekdays in a row. Family stuff went on. If you follow the podcast or the website, you kind of know about it, but there was a death in the family. I was out of town quite a bit. So we haven't had a chance to record any Xillia. Tuesday's episode was the last one. We're going to get to some more soon, because we're very close to finishing that game. But in the interim, it's time for Hearthstone. Now, the game has changed quite a bit. We have a new expansion. Some stuff has rotated out of Standard. And as a result, we're going to be playing this Taunt Warrior deck today, and this is going to showcase one of the new things. So for people who are more casual who watch these videos, there's this whole new mechanic for quests. Quests are all 1-mana legendary cards, which is a bit of a bugaboo, but we'll get to that. If we show up in your opening hand, you have the option to mull them away, so you just don't want that. You know you're up against an aggro deck and you really need better, earlier cards. You don't have the luxury of losing tempo. But in this case, we're certainly going to be playing this almost every time, turn 1.
Garrosh versus Medivh.
The only other 1-mana card we have, I think, is Whirlwind. Not going to be playing that turn 1. So here's our quest, Fire Plume's Heart. Play 7 Taunt minions and we get Sulfuras out of it, which is a 4-attack, 2 durability, 3-mana weapon. And it turns our hero power into basically Ragnaros' ability. It's pretty good. I think we'll just toss Gorehowl. We'll keep the rest. We're sort of kind of on curve. Here's another quest. 6 spells that don't start in your deck, so you're going to be seeing a lot of nonsense here to make that happen. Ends up making a lot of decks more like the Casino Mage and or the Exodia Mage, where you're just kind of playing a bunch of stuff and seeing what you get. And there's a primary example. Well, I don't necessarily like the trade that happens if we play our pal here. This is one of the new cards, Stubborn Gastropod, a 1/2 with Taunt and Poisonous, which is a new keyword that sort of existed before, where if anything takes damage from this, it dies. So playing that right into the 2/1, This is another one of the new cards that greatly helps this deck out, Primordial Glyph. Basically, pay 2 mana to get a spell that costs 2 less, so it's paying for itself. A Secret. I don't necessarily mind this being Mirror Entity on the off chance that's what happens. So let's try that first. And I could consider coin hero power here, but we're just going to go ahead and pass. All the regular mage staples still apply. It could be Ice Barrier, it could be Ice Block. Also, my mouse is probably going to be twitching the whole time. It's getting low on batteries, so I'm really sorry if that's distracting. I'm sure it would be if I were the person like this. That's, interesting. Don't quite know what that's about, but I'm not complaining. You know, on the off chance this is like Vaporize or something, let's just check. Nothing. Okay. Wouldn't have really affected our play any, but it would have been information. Oh.
I want to cast a spell.
We're in the face with all this stuff, huh? I admit I am intrigued by this decision.
Start right.
I like that as a free chance to get that to be a 5/5. We're just going to keep playing big, beefy dudes. You'll notice this little counter here. We're in the secret spot. Tells us where we're at. And you can actually see the weapon there, too. All the quest results essentially give you a 5-mana big, beefy thing of some kind. That's why the weapon's only 3, because essentially it's like saying, okay, you're going to do that and activate your hero power on the first turn for 5 mana. But other ones are big, beefy minions, things that have effects, things that change your health total, things that summon more minions down the road. Alright, let's attack here first. We found an ice barrier, which tells us the other one is not an ice barrier. And I think we're just going to run out of board here.
Tastingo!
I love the little Gastropon dudes because they represent a threat to any decks that like to play like one big minion on one turn. It works on turn 2, and if I'm tired of that, then I can also drop it later on and get value out of it that way. He's having to keep spending hero power on this without developing a board, without anything that's happening here, so I think we're in pretty good shape, to be honest. Next turn, we can play our final Taunt minion, get that cranking. In fact, we're going to go ahead and swing with this. Technically, we could wait one more turn, but that's okay. We do have the option next turn of just playing this for its full mana cost. Technically, this can come down to 3 if we're up against aggro stuff. But we can play that and the weapon. We won't be able to hero power, but we can still get things moving. The thing we don't want to run into, by the way, is Counterspell. That would be sad. Alright, so let's do this in an order. Let's just check for stuff. It's not Ice Barrier, it's not Vaporize. Even if it is Mirror Entity, I don't know that I care, because we can just trade right away.
I'm not ready.
And see, the thing about it, like, this is the one deck where, or the one class where Counterspell doesn't matter. Because we don't actually have to play a spell, whereas almost, well, not all, okay, I'd say most of them. That's because I've been playing a lot of 2 of them that are. Some of them aren't spells, some of them are minions, but then you have to be careful of Mirror Entity. You know, there's a whole check down you want to go through here.
You want to cast a spell? I want to cast a spell.
I've been a little out of sorts all week, so I fully expect to say stupid things, and that's okay.
The end is coming!
You know what's funny about this is we really have a direct counter for it. I'm not really worried about losing 1 charge of the weapon. I feel like we just maintain. And the reason for that is I expect there to be an ice block, so we can't just try and go face and win. So we're just going to do this, because it's funny. We're going to do this and see what it hits. Okay.
Checkmate. Well done.
Yeah, as I say, we're going to force him to try and clear our board, but even Flame Strike's not going to get the job done. So yeah, being able to have the Ragnaros hero power, pretty strong. And you just keep playing good minions out each turn. Let's do one more. I'm not about having like 6-minute videos this week. So we'll play a different deck each. Show off some different stuff, have a nice relaxing time.
Garrosh versus Malfurion.
I must protect the wild. Victory!
Here's one of the new cards. Stonehill Defender. A nice play for this deck because it also works decently well on curve and later on in the game. If you top deck it or something, you can then discover something else. There's a couple of pretty decent 5 and 6 mana taunt minions that you can pull pretty frequently because it defers to your class first. I think I'm going to toss here. There are a couple of different Druid decks out there. There's still Jade. There's a pretty token-heavy one. So I don't think we're going to be able to play that at the reduced cost, but who knows, really. Almost certainly going to coin out something next turn unless we draw something off the top that we can play for 2. Still my favorite board.
My favorite.
So many breakable things. Well, I mean, I'm not sure it's ever wrong to play a Fire War Axe. It's kind of the warrior thing on turn 2, you know? I'll be honest, we're not even going to worry about attacking that.
Out of my
Well, we have basically everything floated out for our curve here. I think we're gonna go here. And we'll leave the 1/1 up. He could buff it or some such, but meh. Straight to 7 mana we go. That's good. Alas, we don't have an execute in hand, otherwise this would be very easily dealt with. So I think we're just going to have to keep putting up taunts until we can do something about that.
I have an axe.
2 executes are in there somewhere. I am a little surprised by that being swiped first. Okay. It's going to sting quite a bit. At the same time, though, all we got to do is kind of turn this around. We also have a Hail Mary Brawl type play if we really wanted to. So the best play here is probably going to be this. See, here's the problem. This is kind of a yucky spot. I kind of want to play this out just because if he attacks it, I can then kill it with a Fiery War Axe, which is a gross way to look at things, but gotta get rid of this. Putting a bigger taunt in our deck, which is what this does, doesn't really do us a lot of good right now. This would get us exactly 2 armor, and it would just die. But we're going to eat some more damage here. Ooh, a panther. Something low. That's not really what we're looking for either. I mean, we could do the 50-50 brawl and Hail Mary that. Gotta have to think about what represents our best chance to win here. And I think that's it, because playing a taunt doesn't do us any good. We're still too far away from this. So, let's cross our fingers. What do you say? Nope. Good times. Good times. That's okay. I don't mind that because that was really just a coin flip, and that's, you know, I deserve to lose that just as much as I deserve to win it. And we died. Awesome that there was just 1 minion and we had no answer. Because, boy, he would have been dead otherwise, huh? He has no cards in hand, he has no board developing, and we're just going to keep playing big taunts. But unfortunately, no execute. Sometimes that happens. Oh well. That's the Taunt Warrior. For the rest of the week, we'll showcase a couple of different ones. Probably going to do the Disco Lock, because I happened to get the quest for that when I opened a bunch of packs. And then Dragon Priest actually isn't dead, even though it lost all of its early game. We'll talk about both of those more when we get to them.